made without flour. Well, it's not technically flourless, but we swapped out all the white flour, even the whole wheat, which contains gluten, and we're using a gluten-free swap out that is so easy to make at home. And it is old-fashioned oat flour. So if you've never used oat flour, you can make it right at home by just taking some old-fashioned oats and grinding them up into a flour in your blender or food processor. It's that simple. And the great thing about oat flour is it's entirely gluten-free. So I'm gonna do 1.5 cups of old-fashioned oat flour that's been ground into a flour. Then we have 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So those 2 ingredients will cause the bagels to rise up a little bit and also be soft and tender on the inside. Now the great thing about these bagels is they actually toast up really well. So you can make them into a breakfast sandwich, you can serve them for lunch or for dinner and have them with a side of eggs. That's something that we like to do in my house a lot, is have breakfast for dinner. So these toast up, they hold up to just about any topping that you put on them. They're also great to make ahead and pop them in the freezer so you can have them for a really busy morning. Now I'm adding 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, then 1 egg, and I'm just gonna mix this together, and you can see how simple this was. So now we'll put the dough onto a piece of parchment paper, just like that. And what I like to do is I like to kind of form a rectangle out of the dough. And that allows me to just kind of evenly break off or cut apart some balls. But you could skip this part. You can just literally take pieces of the dough right out of the bowl, and then you just kind of roll the dough into balls. And you can do 5 or 6 bagels out of this. I'm making 4, so they'll be a little bit larger bagels. So I'm just gonna put these balls onto a baking pan that's lined with parchment paper. And then, now that we have our bagels formed, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna form a little bit of a hole inside here with my finger. So if you wanna take some flour and kind of dust your finger so it won't stick, that'll help. And then I'm just gonna make a nice little hole inside the bagels. And when these bake, they'll rise and they'll also kind of expand a little bit. So you wanna leave a little bit of room around each bagel. Then I'm gonna make an egg wash to go on top. And this is really simple. An egg wash is just simply 1 egg that's beaten in a bowl. So you just beat up 1 egg in a bowl and then you just brush it on top with a little pastry brush. And all this does is when the bagels bake, it not only helps the seasoning stick really well, it's almost like a glue, but it also causes the bagels to brown up nice and golden on top and have almost that crunchy, a little bit more of a crunchy exterior when you toast them and a soft inside. Then I have the secret ingredient, the best part of these bagels, the everything seasoning. Now the everything seasoning you can get at almost any grocery store now if you look in the seasoning section, but you can also buy it online. I actually found this just at my local grocery store. And it's just a combination of poppy seeds, sesame seeds, coarse sea salt, and some garlic and onion. So you could always make your own as well. So you just kind of sprinkle it on. I think the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon, but you really can just eyeball it. There's no technical way to do that. Now I'm gonna bake these 375 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And when we come back, we're gonna make a delicious Parmesan breadstick that will absolutely blow your mind that it can also be gluten-free.